Welcome in, everybody. It is Tuesday night, which means it is Divots and Pivots time. Yes, we had a week off last night. Last week. I'm sorry, I was moving. As you can see, we are in a new studio. There will be paint coming. There will be more decorations coming back here. As you will see, there'll be better lighting. I promise you, it is coming. I'm also in talks with someone for an intro, so please be patient with me, guys. Big transitions coming, but all for you, for the love and support that you have shown us. We love you guys. I'm Andrew LeDuc, joined as always by Keith Fleming, and we are ready to bring it to you. Brought to you by Acorn Hills, as always, acornhillsco.com. Get over there to the website. Use discount code DIVPIV, that's DIVPIV 15 to get 15% off your order over there for all their golf swag, all their accessories, all their fantastic lines of clothing. And join their Founders Club. Every quarter, you will get a box in the mail if you join their Founders Club with hand-picked selections from Nate himself, the founder of Acorn Hill. So get over there. We support them fully. We love them, and we hope you do too. And Keith, I know I've been disconnected from the golf world for the past week and a half with all the moving I've been doing. So I'm not going to lie. I don't know much about what happened last week at the Cadillac Championship. So I'm going to need to rely on you to give us a little bit of a rundown of what happened. How did your picks do? From what you sent me, screenshots of your picks, it feels like you had a pretty good week.
Yeah, it was a really good week. Thank you, Cam Young, for dusting the field. That was a little plus 1250. Obviously, we wish the odds could have been a little better, but it is what it is. But my real shout out goes to my man, Adam Scott, who I had to win top 5 and top 10. And after that 76 on Thursday, I was like, well, I just set some money on fire. And then he decided to shoot 14 under over the weekend and battle back to top 5. So that ended up hitting as well. That was like, I think, plus 625 to top 5 and like plus 295 to top 10. So altogether ended up being a really good week. More than anything, though, it was just impressive to see Cam Young just bitch slap pretty much everybody. I mean, he led wire to wire. What was most impressive to me, he did that 3 of the 4 rounds with Scotty Scheffler in his group. So he not only dusted the field, he did that with the best player in the world, playing alongside him. And man, like the PGA Championship, all of a sudden you got Matt Fitzpatrick playing incredible level. Scotty Scheffler has now finished runner-up in 3 straight events. We hadn't seen anybody do that in over a decade. And then obviously Cam Young. And then, oh, by the way, there's a guy named Rory McIlroy who has not played since he won the Masters, that historic consecutive Masters win, joining, only 3 guys ever in the history of the game that's done that. He's going to play this week at a venue that he owns. So if, say, Rory wins this week and now he's also going into next week with all this momentum, we could end up having a really special PGA Championship at a Donald Ross venue, a new venue, not a new venue, obviously very old course, but a new venue.
Not new at all.
Yeah, like for all of us, we have not seen it. It's been a long time since they held a men's major championship at there. Man, like what a good time to be a golf fan. And that doesn't even include like, the Brysons of the world. Obviously Xander Schauffele is starting to play a lot better. Like there's a lot of guys rounding in. Adam Scott, again, playing very well. Like there's a lot of guys rounding into form, and we could end up having, I think, an epic PGA Championship. Let me ask you something, because we talked last night about this on the 19th hole. We went ahead and did our PGA Championship previews trying to get ahead of it. They feel confident that this venue, being a Donald Ross, is modern enough with the bunkers and stuff that it's going to force players to play the way that Donald Ross intended. I don't have that confidence, because when I watch somebody like Cam Young carry a 350-yard corner on a dog leg all 4 days, last week at Doral, and we've seen Rory McIlroy just destroy a lot of these, Robert Jones golf courses by, again, just basically bombing it over the corners. I have my concerns that these guys are just so good and so long that playing a Donald Ross course like this is only going to give those top guys an even bigger advantage. They think, again, my co-hosts think that it's going to, be the great equalizer. And I hope it is, because that's what I want to see is venues that everyone in the field, if they play their game, has a chance. But I have my questions. Where do you kind of sit on that?
So I 100% come into this week thinking driving distance is 100% like a difference maker. Like if you're in it, it's mainly because when you look at the layout of the course, I think you're spot on. I share your same concerns, Keith, that with the bunker placements in these fairways, if you can just carry it like 305, 310, 315 on a regular and accurately, then you're going to be missing all the hazards. Basically, you're going to have a nice, easy, straight up approach into these accessible greens. So if you have that distance, this course is going to play probably a full half shot to a full shot easier for you than the field. Like, so I agree with you. I think this is going to be a top heavy field that is very much equivalent to driving distance and stroke gains approach. Those are 100% my two highest weighted stats this week. Which we saw again,
obviously this is Donald Ross venue this week. Yeah. Donald Ross venue for the PGA Championship. The last, I think 11 of the last 12 winners entered the week at Quail Hollow, top 15 in the field in driving distance.
Right.
And again, I'm just concerned that we're going to get the same thing at the PGA Championship, where I don't believe that is going to be forcing these, guys with just elite distance from carrying the corners. They think that they are going to have to lay up. It's a course that it's literally a bowl, from what I understand. That if it's a dog leg left, instead of the fairway going right to left, the fairway is actually going left to right, which again is going to make it difficult to position yourself off the tee. But one way to go around that is just to go over it, right? Like, what did they say in Back to the Future? Roads where we're going. We don't need roads. So I'm fascinated to see it, though. I'm very curious to get to see a venue that we haven't seen as a major championship. And again, you can't ask for, more top guys playing at an elite level entering it than what we're going to get.
Yeah, so that's going to be fantastic next week. What is good about this week for the Truist Championship is that we get Quail Hollow. And Quail Hollow is a course that we literally see every single year, whether it's in a major championship format or a President's Cup format or whatever. We see it every single year. And this is one of those courses that guys who play well on this course continue to play well on this course.
6th most predictive on the PGA Tour.
Exactly. So that's why this week is going to be one of those weeks. One, it's a perfect lead up because of the way that, as you're alluding to, the PGA Championship is going to be set up. Like, this is the perfect lead-in tournament for that, where I think a lot of correlations are going to be had to who does well this week is going to do well next week. I think it's too similar of courses, and we're going to see some big names. We're going to see, you mentioned it, Adam Scott. Adam Scott has been on a tear so far this year. His approach game has been fantastic. His putting has picked up. Like, he's outrageous. He had that one bound. If I remember correctly, like I said, I didn't really watch this week.
He had a lost ball. It was a really bad situation. He found the worst area on the course for rough, and unfortunately played the wrong ball.
Yeah, and so like I said, I was moving this past week, so I did not see any of the Cadillac Championship at all, I'll be honest. But from what I have been able to gather from the recap of it and looking at everything, Scott had basically one bad day. Mm-hmm. And then he putted lights out on Sunday, and he absolutely crushed the field. And he came back and finished. What was it, top 4 or top 5?
He finished, I think, 4th. Yeah, T4, I believe.
Yeah, so guys like that, guys like Xander, Rory crushes Quail Hollow. Yeah. Like, he's 100% a horse for a course. And if you're talking about a guy who's now had a couple of weeks off, and now he's coming into a place that he is fully crushed in the past, and he's leading into a PGA Championship that is at a course that he should 100% also own. Like, we're now, talking about Rory 100% being worth his 11,700 DraftKings tag this week. But also, 2, we're now venturing towards the season Grand Slam 100% being in effect. Because he is fully in play for the PGA next week. And
I think that's fair.
is a fantastic lead up for him this week. But someone you got to not sleep on is Xander. Like Xander is someone who is playing well. He's hitting his stride at the right time. He has good history here as well. Like there's a lot of good guys this week.
Did you see what he gained on the field with his irons last week? Over
I did
5
not.
shots. Over
Like I said,
5
yeah.
shots.
Which is insane. That's an insane number. Because usually, like when you're seeing like strokes gained on the field, you're looking at like 1 point something or 2 point. Like a 2 point something is usually like a fantastic week. Like that's a guy that wins the tournament typically. In any of the stats, not even just irons. I'm talking any of the stats. If you're gaining that many strokes in the field in any category, like you're positioned really well. The fact that he got up to that point is fantastic. But before we get too far down the Truist Championship, let's touch on some news. Let's touch on some golf world news because obviously since we've been on the air last, it's been 2 weeks now. Live Golf seems to be dying. No matter what PR they put out with all the big words and long, what's it called, run-on sentences and shit. Like we all can read between the lines. That PR team is working overtime to try to make it sound like everything is good, and they have investors who are going to make up the PIF. But I'm sorry, but the Saudi money, that PIF money, ain't nobody comes close to that money. And you're gonna see the difference. It's why we're seeing guys like Jon Rahm now biting the bullet and paying his fine so that he can play in the DP World Tour as soon as like within a couple months for the rest of this season. Because he knows, shit, now I need to be able to get some world ranking points if I have any, chance in playing in some of the bigger events leading into next year. So we see Jon Rahm doing that. We see obviously Brooks Koepka had already jumped ship. Like we're going to see some more fallout from this turmoil from Liv. And the fact that Jon Rahm is the latest one to go there and now jump, I mean, not that he's jumping, but like Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson's not playing in the Liv event next week. He was choosing to play in the PGA Championship next week. It just came out today that he will not be playing in it. Max Homa is going to be taking his place. He's citing family, personal family, mental health.
One more withdrawal from Suter getting in the field. He is now the first alternate, man.
Right. But like the fact that not only is Phil Mickelson not playing in the PGA, so not only is he not playing in the Live tournament that is also happening next week, he chose the PGA Championship over that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, he's not playing in that, but the fact that he chose that in general just speaks volumes that the players are telling us everything we need. No matter what Live PR puts out, the players are telling us everything we need to know. Live is not long. Live might still exist for a few years with whatever money they get, but it's not going to be your Jon Rahms, your Bryson DeChambeaus, your Phil Mickelsons of the world.
Once those purses come down to, your normal purses, those guys are not going to stick around. I'm sure they have, wording in their contracts where it's going to allow them to bail.
There's zero chance. And Bryson has even said he's going to focus for the next year on his YouTube channel. And I don't know if you saw, I've seen some pictures. I don't know the legitimacy of, I haven't done the full dig on them yet, but I've seen some pictures of the Crusher hats, Bryson's team on Live. They no longer have the Live logo on them. So like, I'm going to be curious to see how that kind of plays out. Like to what level did the players on Live have ownership of the teams? Because if that is true, that he's still producing hats but now just without the Live logo, like that opens up a whole nother revenue stream that Live had no control over these actual team, logos and brands. Like these were the full captains, kind of purse and doing. If they have full control over that, that's a whole nother wrinkle to this fallout of Live.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. Well, I'm curious to see what happens. It's fascinating. Whatever. Let's quickly touch on something I know you have zero recognition of, is the YouTube golf world. I know you don't really know much of what I take it in quite fully. I'm a big YouTube golf fan just because I find
so you do watch a lot of the stuff.
I do because I find it entertaining in a different way that I find full tour competitive golf. I watch everything so my number one channel is definitely Bob Does Sports, just because they're entertaining. They're fun. Fat Perez, Joey Coldcuts, Bob Berger, like they are they're literally the perfect, situation of Bob is like
So
the
is that the
lowest.
big guy that I've seen like at the East
But
Lake
he, but he's
tournament?
not so big anymore. He's
Oh,
cut a lot of weight, so now they're calling him Slim Perez. Like they've now this people changing up, or they're calling him not so fat Perez. Like you know what I mean. But now he's just known as what he's known as FP now is what it is. But he's fantastic news for him. He's cut so much weight. He's looking
good for
great.
him.
So it's fantastic. But he's 100% the best golfer on that channel. Joey Colcutt's the second. Bob is third. But they are just entertaining. They're fun. They're just good to watch. So it's solid product when you're thinking of YouTube golf. Obviously, you get into the world of the good, and Rick Shields and other guys on YouTube and groups on YouTube that take it much more serious. They're guys who tried to go pro and it didn't work out, so then they transitioned to this. And now what's happening is they're getting a chance to go quote unquote pro. You know, technically they're professional golfers. They're making their living off of playing golf on YouTube. So you want to call them professional golfers. I'm not going to argue that because they are. But if you haven't seen, Wesley Bryan, George Bryan, and Grant Horvat have started the Your Golf Tour. Or I think it's called Your Golf Tour. And it's YouTube golfers. And it's going to be a 4 tournament tour.
Assuming it's all going to be on YouTube or
correct. It's all going to be so I don't know how it's going to play out as far as the individual channels and the rights to that goes. I'm assuming it's going to mainly be on those 3 channels of actually 2 channels really. Is the Grant Horvat channel and the Bryan Bros channel, because Wesley Bryan and George Bryan are brothers and they have their own channel together. They did throw in a mix of Brad Dahlke is their 4th captain, is what they're calling it. Brad Dahlke, if you don't know Brad Dahlke, he's from Good Golf. He came out of college and he was able to qualify for the Masters. Like I said, I think it was back in 2018, 2019, around there. But he's technically played in the Masters, and that's kind of what people know him for on YouTube. He's the YouTube golfer that has played in the Masters, which is a pretty big. When you're talking about YouTube golfers, that's a massive,
it's a pretty big deal. Period.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's through playing in the event or just actually getting on Augusta National to play. Period.
Right.
I'm pretty jealous. Let's put it that way.
Right, so that's a huge thing. So they are the 4 captains for this series, and what they're doing, like I said, it's a 4 tournament thing. They have their guys that they each picked, and then for each tournament they are going to pick what they're basically, you know how like on golf, like for scramble tournaments for charity, whatnot, they have like a celebrity shot. Basically kind of thing. Right. So each tournament, each captain's going to get to pick a celebrity player. It could be a professional golfer. It could be a celebrity from any other realm, medium, whatever. They get to pick somebody to play for that one tournament on their team that is not already on the roster. Basically.
So are they doing like a scramble, or is it an individual?
Individual. So I should say, from what I can tell, like I said, they've kind of been slowly releasing the rules of it all, so I'm not sure it's all been fully released, but from what I can gather, it's going to be an individual scenario for all the tournaments. As far as the captains go and who they've picked, I think that was just the 4 guys, like the 4 of them they chose to pick who was on the tour. Basically, they all have a certain amount of picks. I could be wrong. We'll wait to see as more information comes out, but look, it's going to be something that's entertaining on the YouTube space. I think it's going to be successful. We saw the success of the Internet Invitational that Barstool put on last year, and it's going to be on again. And I'm sorry, but that was wildly successful. The way it was edited, the way it was released, the way it was played, everything was perfect with that when it comes to YouTube. This is going to be in that realm. I'm not sure it's going to hit that standard, because I think they're going to take it much more serious than the Internet Invitational did. But this is something to keep an eye on. It's just the way that golf is evolving. It's by no means going to be they're calling it a tour. It's not going to be a tour that challenges the PGA Tour challenge. Like, it's not going to be a tour.
I don't think they have to worry about that.
It's not going to be a tour in that sense. What it is, it's going to be entertaining, and they're going to own it as just being entertaining. And they're going to the 3 main guys, that Grant, George, and Wesley. It's a business for them. They're going to make money off of it, sponsorships, players, whatever. It's going to work out. It's going to be successful in that sense. And yeah, I'm going to watch it because I watch YouTube golf. And I do recommend that if you don't watch YouTube golf yet, you're watching the show somehow, which I feel like both go hand in hand. Check it out, because there's different ways of taking golf other than just falling asleep on your couch on a Saturday
Hey,
afternoon. You know what I mean?
easy.
No, but I say that as someone who does that. That's some of the best naps. You get some of those naps that early afternoon.
Man,
before
some
the
of us
leaders
don't
tee
fall
off.
asleep, man. I live for that.
So I often do too, but I'm just saying, like a large portion of the viewing audience, they view it as a relaxing thing to watch all day long. Like there's other ways to take it in the shorter forms of content for it. Just enjoy it. So I feel like I know you don't know a bunch about the YouTube golf, but it's definitely kind of become a barometer of where the sport is in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I wish him nothing but the best. I do spend time watching golf on YouTube, but it's typically like instructional videos,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. I've never totally understood like watching golfers who, they're better than me. I don't think they're that much better than me. I mean, your boy did shoot 71 on Sunday, but
Fucking fantastic.
I just don't want to, like I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of watching other people play golf. Like the professionals, 'cause I'm just like, oh my God, these guys are freaking incredible. And also just the pressure of the situation, which I think is what makes golf so unique. But I will admit, like if they're playing for some big cash and it becomes a thing that a lot of people are watching, I'll definitely check it out. And it'll be interesting to see because Bryson, to your point, you kind of hinted at, has said that he would potentially, I guess, go to YouTube for.
Well, he said he's going to spend the next year focusing on his YouTube channel, and I can tell you 100% he will be making an appearance in one of these Your Tour golf.
He needs to be careful, though.
Tournaments.
I mean, if he thinks that he's going to be able to survive from YouTube, it's not going to go well. And, it's just funny. I saw Bryson said we need to keep our egos in check. You need to keep your ego in check there, buddy, because what did he say?
See, I kind of think you're wrong. I think you're wrong, though, because Bryson was getting millions of views just from hitting a golf ball over his house every day. And he would add a golf ball. But
it's different when it's YouTube and you can watch it whenever you want compared to live viewing. Like there's such a big difference in that.
I don't think you understand the money that's in YouTube right now.
I mean, he can have all the money he wants. If Bryson wants to be a professional golfer, YouTube is not where he's going to.
So I don't think that's where he finishes. I think this is what he's going to do as he passes the time to wait till he gets back in the PGA Tours. Good graces. Like he's not like Rahm's going the DP World Tour route.
He's going to find out the PGA Tour doesn't need him. Do they want him? Sure.
Yeah, they're going to.
They don't need him. No one is bigger than the game, and I thought these guys would have learned this when they left for Live and thought that their tour was going to end up being something near the PGA Tour. And guess what? It's not. Nobody watches. Nobody cares. So I'm just saying to Bryson to double down. He better be careful because he has not won a green jacket. He will not be able to play in majors forever off of what he's done.
Correct.
And I'm just saying it's going to be a shame when in 10 years we're watching Bryson's YouTube channel and he's begging to get into a PGA Tour event. He needs to figure it out. He's the one that's going to have to check his ego at the door and figure out a way to get back to the PGA Tour.
See, and I think they will 100% let him back. I say give it a year, maybe 2 years. They're 100% they're gonna let the dust settle of this, and they're gonna let him back in because they already showed us they're willing to make exceptions for a guy like Brooks. Where they created a path. Yes, he had to pay some money, but he had the money from Live. Other than the money, what he had to do was minimal to get back.
He ate some crow, though. I mean, if you look at what he's done, playing in the
stuff,
some of this stuff shows that he was willing to eat crow and to sort of, what is it from Happy Gilmore? I was right, you were wrong.
Yeah, all these guys are going to have to do that. There's no doubt about that. That's part of the deal now. What they did, they went into the bag. And now they're going to have to eat, they're going to have to eat shit coming back. And that's part of the deal. They're going to have to realize that. But I do think Bryson will be back on the PGA Tour. Give it a year and a half.
Here's what he said. Excuse me. His potential punishment. It's quite unfortunate, in my opinion, considering what I could do for them. And it's like,
So that is, you're right. That right there is where you are right. His head is bigger than the tour, and they realize, like, that's where he doesn't realize. Yeah, he brings a lot to the tour, but at the same time, the tour is surviving just fine without him.
Yep.
So you're 100% right there. That comment is a deaf comment on his ears.
And he's going to have to
I do
change his
agree.
tone. I hope he does, because I want to see Bryson back week in and week out. But it does concern me with what, this is saying. And, he basically said also in the same interview or the same presser that the PGA Tour is failing as well. Which
right, they gotten a little brazen. It almost feels like he was riding the fence between, like, he was trying to still save live golf. He was trying to stay in the good graces there, but at the same time keeping the door open. Like, it did seem like out of all the guys, Bryson was the one that was unsure of which way he was going. Because hell, there was rumors last week that he might be able to figure out a way to buy the majority stake of live.
Right.
Which I thought was outrageous. Like, there's
why would he want that, right?
Like, yeah, there was zero chance that was happening. But the fact that rumor was flying around showed me that he's in the middle. So that's gonna take longer to come back from than a guy like Brooks, who made his choice with live and then definitively made his choice to go back to PGA. Just like Rahm, he definitively made his choice with live, and now he's definitively making his choice to try to get back in the good graces by going to DP and paying his fines finally and figuring all that out.
And it's nuts. He's playing in Myrtle Beach. Like, I would have never guessed that was going to happen. But again, I think that shows that he is willing to make this work, and that's going to go a long way and getting back in PGA Tour's, good graces, and why he was able to. I'm sure that was part of, the agreement he made was like, look, you're going to have to play in some events, like until you get your full status back and, automatically are in these elevated events or signature events.
That's the biggest knock against PGA Tour in general, is that they want their players to bow to them. They want their players to treat them like daddy, if you know what I mean. Like, they want to be worshipped by the players as if there's no other options. And that was why live was able to be born, because enough players unfortunately got fed up with that notion. And that's something that I hope PGA learned out of all this, is that the players are what makes the tour. Now, to an extent, there's enough players to where, like I said, missing Bryson hurts, but it doesn't hurt enough to sink the tour. Like, that's where that balance of, you got to check your ego. Like, yeah, you bring something that everybody's missing, but at the same time, people are still
for
watching.
Every Bryson, they'll make a Cam Young, and that was kind of what I said from the beginning, is like, it's going to take a little while, but they'll make stars, and they have, and it's stronger because of it, and only will be a bigger boom if they get all of these guys back, because you obviously will have your new stars. It reminds me a lot of WWE and wrestling, where like it's the same deal with wrestling. There's ebbs and flows, but anytime there's a lull in stars, they're going to make new stars, because somebody's going to get that opportunity to kind of, rise through the ranks.
Yep. No, 100%. That's why the PGA Tour will never fail. It's reached that point, just like the NFL will never fail. And all the other major four sports, they will never fail. As bleak as it seems to be, like, they're locked in. People can say all they want. They're going to boycott. I'm not watching this anymore. Bullshit. You're going to watch.
You're going to watch.
Every Sunday, every whatever. You're going to watch. So with that said, we have the Truist Championship this week. Another signature event leading into a major. So this is a 72. It's a no cut. So 70. I think it's
72 players. 72, I think that's right.
Yeah. 70. I had that number right. Okay. Yeah. 72 players, no cut event. So smaller field, no cut. So expect, when you're doing your math on your potential DK score, that's where this comes into play, because people sometimes mess that up. Like, there's the math of the multipliers for the projected points and all that. That standard multiplier that you're trying to figure out is based off of a cut event, where there's lineups out there that have guys missing the cut. You don't have that this week. Your scores per player are going to be higher. You got to adjust your math. Just keep that in mind when you're looking at it.
But also remember, there's an advantage of you don't have to worry about guys missing the cut. So if you want to play a $6,000 guy, they may not score that many points, but they're going to get points all 4 rounds.
Right, and often what we see is a lot of times we see these guys who are out of contention, and all of a sudden on Saturday and Sunday,
Yep.
when they know they're out of contention, they play free, and all of a sudden they put up, 4 under, 5 under,
More the
6 under
day, get
rounds
those
back to
bonus
back.
points. Yep.
Yeah, and they're getting you these DK points, which matter. So, like, you got to kind of look at all the factors when you're comparing a no-cut event to a cut event. These no-cut events are a fully different animal. You got to be prepared for it. So listen up. We got you covered here on Divots and Pivots. We'll hit you with our stats right now. I know my stats, like I said earlier, driving distance is a big one. Strokes gained approach is a big one. Outside of that, I'm going straight up strokes gained par fours. I'm hitting fairway proximity approaches between 175 and 200 because I think that's where you're going to either see guys bomb it around the corners like you were suggesting, or you're going to see guys lay it up and have these slightly longer approaches from the corner, missing the bunkers. And then strokes gained off the tee, I'm doubling down on that drive because not only do you need to be far, you need to be accurate. So those are kind of my stats. I'm running those as over the past 3 months in general, but then I'm also running those same stats through the model for Quail Hollow over the last 3 years in general, because like I said, Quail Hollow is a course that we see every single year, whether it's not always the Truist Championship. Last year was the PGA. The year before that,
the 2017, the PGA too. So
right, and mixed in there, the President's Cup was there once. So every now and then it switches. It's like the Truist Championship last year was at the Cricket Club in Philly, I think. Whatever.
Straka won.
Yeah, so you got to be careful once again when you're looking at course history. Make sure you're paying attention to the course, not the tournament. It's an easy mistake. So I'm looking at Quail Hollow because we see this every year. We have a lot of stats, so I'm actually putting a lot of weight on those same stats at Quail Hollow specifically. And what it spits out is not really surprising. Like, we got Xander up there, we got Rory up there, we got Adam Scott up there, Siwoo Kim is up there. So Siwoo Kim has quietly had probably his career best year, and I say quietly because I feel like he's always been a popular DFS play because his price has reflected him as a value. And quieter this year, I think, is reflected by the prices have finally caught up to him. So his game hasn't changed. His results hasn't necessarily changed, but people don't see him as a value anymore because he costs more to play. But he's still kicking out the results. Siwoo Kim should not be ignored this week.
I mean, he's just like with Adam Scott, I think a spike week away from winning an event with the way that he's been, ball striking all year. I said this stat earlier, and I just want to repeat it again because, I'm a big believer in trends. You've had since 2014, only James Hahn won this event without entering the week top 15 in driver distance. That means one of these 15 people, if history continues to repeat itself, will win this event. That's Rory McIlroy, Chris Goddard, Aldrich Pope-Guider, Gary Woodland, Jake Knapp, Nikolai Hogard, Minwoo Lee, Adam Scott, Kurt Kitayama, Cameron Young, Pearson Coody, Taylor Pendrith, Sam Stevens, our boy Sudarshan Yelamajre, and Ryan Fox. Those are the 15 guys. Again, if that holds true, that one of them will end up winning this event this week. I also really looked into that 175 plus yard approaches. You're going to have, I think it's 56% of approaches come from that distance here. So obviously that's going to come into play. You did par four scoring. I think particularly par fours of 450 plus yards. 8 of the 11 par fours this week play 450 plus yards. Again, a list that probably won't surprise anybody, but the top 10 in the field on those type par fours: Rory, Fitzpatrick, Xander, Morikawa, Hideki, Fleetwood, McNeely, Rio, Oberg, and Cantley. And then again, that top 10 from 175 plus, again, names that probably won't surprise people: Keegan, Adam Scott, Oberg, Rory, Sudarshan, Sungjae M, Sepp Straka, Pope-Guider, Ryan Fox, Hideki. Those are the 3 stats for me that I really leaned into. This is the third longest course on tour, seventh toughest. And you got to be able to scramble though a little bit here. Only 61% green and regulation percentage. That's quite a bit underneath what your average tour is. And then the green mile is going to make such a big difference as holes 16 through 18. It's the toughest 3-hole closing stretch on tour, playing over a full quarter of a stroke over par over the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, I 100%. And it feels like this is a tournament where a name is going to win. Like, you obviously, in some of those 15 names that you named, there's some not necessarily household names in there, so where they definitely have a chance they're going to be valued. But this feels like a Xander, Matt Fitzpatrick, Sam Burns kind of week, like something like a name that people know is going to win this week. And I say Matt Fitzpatrick in there too because he's playing phenomenal golf. He's arguably the number one in the world currently. Like, I know maybe the points don't dictate that, but as far as his current form, Matt Fitzpatrick,
when you've won 3 of the last 5 events with a runner-up in there too, it's pretty tough to say that you're
right.
Not, yeah.
And when you're coming into a course that, quite frankly, like lends to his game quite well, it's hard to argue against him, especially when he feels criminally underpriced at 9,900.
Yeah, he does feel underpriced. Which
I get. 9,900 is still expensive in the DFS world, but compared to the fact that Xander's 10,000, Cameron Young is 10,100, Rory's 11,700, which all rightfully so, I believe. I still think Matthew Fitzpatrick probably should have been somewhere in that mid 10,000 range.
I mean, you would think, again, with his recent form, again, he's one of the guys, second in the par 4 scoring, 450 plus. That's 8 of the 18 holes. And then the other big one, there's only 7 guys in the field above average in strokes gained around the greens, scrambling, bogey avoidance, and strokes gained total on difficult golf courses. The other guys on that list, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay, McIntyre, Day, McNeely, and Oberg, which I will admit, Oberg's name continues to pop up on these lists as well. I'm having such a hard time trusting him with what we've seen when he gets in contention. The other thing just to be leery of this week, because I've been burned before. The week before a major, it's really difficult to know what is somebody's motivation.
Sure.
Are they there to win? Are they there just to get their game in a place where they feel comfortable for the fall?
Oh, we might have lost Keith there. I don't know if Keith can hear me or if you guys can still hear Keith and it's just a me problem. I've lost Keith on my end. But I think he's onto something here because Ludwig is someone that – Can you hear me, Keith? I think you're back.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we're good then. You're back. I lost you for a second there. I think you were hitting on a good point there, though, because someone like Ludwig, it feels like just given where he's priced, given the names around him, I feel like Ludwig is going to be actually quite popular this week. I feel like he's going to be high owned because people are going to view Ludwig at 9,600. They're going to view that name and that price and think, shit, that's a value for a tournament like this.
Yep.
When in reality, like I said, I'd rather pay the 300 more for Matt Fitzpatrick or the 200 less for Siwoo
or 700 less for Adam Scott.
Right. So, like, that's the thing. Like, I'm actually going to – this is one of those instances where, yeah, I don't disagree that Ludwig is probably – he's set up well for this course. He's set up well for this week leading into a major. He's probably going to do good. But from a DFS standpoint, I don't think that's where I'm going to put my money because I just don't think there's an edge there at all.
Yeah, I'm interested to see kind of what his projected ownership is, but
let's take a look.
I can't again until he proves to me he can get over, this issue with closing tournaments. I can't justify spending, especially in a field like this, that much money on him when there's so many other guys who, to me, make a lot of sense. And don't forget, now he's only played this event once, or excuse me, he hadn't played this event at all. He's only played this course once, and that was in the PGA Championship last year. He missed the cut. So
And this,
We'll
like we
find
said,
out this week. Was it, and it's a totally different, obviously, Quail Hollow when it's a PGA Championship compared to
different setup, different all that.
much tougher, much more penalizing when you miss the fairways and stuff. I mean, Rory sort of in the same boat, finished 17th in 2017 at the PGA, 47th last year, and then fourth in 2016 for the Truist, 16 in 18, 8th and 19, and then obviously 1 in 21 and 24. So it's just a different course, but I would rather save that money. And there's a lot of guys who have done very well. Xander finished runner-up each of the last 2 Truists played here. Corey Connors has finished 13th or better each of the last 2 Truists. Max Homa, who we know just got the PGA Championship, he finished 8th each of the last 2 years that they played the Truist here. Sung J M finished top 8 each of the last 2 years. And a name that might surprise a lot of people, Denny McCarthy, has finished 8th or better 3 straight years, including the PGA Championship. So you started off saying this is one of the most predictive. I think it's the 6th most predictive on tour. You cannot go wrong playing somebody with a really good history here, because it's just a venue that once you kind of figure out, it seems like you figure it out.
Right, and that's why for Ludwig Goldberg specifically, the risk just doesn't make sense this week in my eyes, because he's been too inconsistent this year as a whole, and he doesn't have the course history here. Just for the money, I'd much rather put it in other places. As far as the projected ownerships goes, it looks like BetSperts does not have the full accurate numbers quite yet for the projected ownership. Judging off the initial numbers, it looks like Ludwig Goldberg currently would be the second highest owned in this field, though, which is even just doubles down on my point that I am fully staying away from Ludwig.
So what you said, he was the second highest projected? Is that what you said?
Judged by the very preliminary, everything's less than 1%, but based off the decimals, it's Victor Hovland's number 1, Ludwig Goldberg is number 2. So that doesn't mean could drastically change once we actually get the numbers. But
I was going to say, what has Hovland done here?
So Hovland,
I actually don't know.
Hovland's priced at $8,400.
I was just saying, what was his record here? Because he's somebody I didn't look at. So I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so Hovland's in good form, and let's take a look at Quail Hollow specifically. It's
okay. So he's finished 28th at the PGA last year here, 24th, 43rd, and he did finish 3rd in his first appearance here in 2021.
Yeah, so Hovland I would put into that kind of borderline horse for the course kind of situation. So I get it, at 8,400, he's probably going to be quite high owned. He ranks out 12th in my model. So once again, I get it. If he can get his strokes gained off the tee up this week and play it higher than the average he's been playing, he's going to be in contention. And at 8,400.
And this, of course, he's drove it very well. He's gained almost a stroke on the field for his career off the tee.
Yeah, so that makes sense to me. That's someone at that price that I would be much more willing to eat that type of ownership than I would be for Ludwig at his price. That's where you got to factor in when you're playing DFS. You got to play the math of their price and their ownership and figure out where the value is. Some other spots where, let me kind of sort this by salary at this point. So we talked about Rory. Rory's going to be.
I want to real quickly while you're there, just it's absurd how good he is. So Rory's average at this venue, 2.05 strokes gained tee to green, 1.67 strokes gained ball striking, 1.05 strokes gained off the tee, 0.62 on approach, 0.38 around the greens. And just for good measure, he's gaining almost a quarter of a shot on the greens as well. His 2.26 average strokes gained total, he has almost 30 more strokes gained total than anybody else in the field. And I read, if you go back to 2013, him and Mickelson would be the top 2 in strokes gained total overall. And it's 60 shots more than Phil. I mean, that's why part of me wants to see Rory just dust the field here and show hey, I know we're all talking about Fitzpatrick and Cam, and we're talking about Scheffler and all these guys going into Augusta. it's my time, right? Like I
Right.
now got my swagger back. I have nothing holding me down anymore. I've done everything I need to do and I'm playing free. I laughed at the guys that said that he would just be this whole new guy, right? Like, and that all
Yeah.
the pressures were gone. What he did at Augusta kind of proved maybe there was some truth to it, right? Because he did
Right.
look free, and it was a
Yeah.
very impressive win, man. Because all the big names were there, and he outplayed everybody.
I was down on him going to that Masters. It's on the tape here on this show. Like I was staying away from Rory because I didn't think he could do it. He proved us wrong. And sometimes guys do that. And that's why, like, in most instances, I usually stay away from the guy who won the week before. Just because it's so hard to go back to back in this tour. I will say it's more likely, at least from a DFS standpoint, like someone like Cam Young who just won last week. When you're talking about the 2 tournaments leading up to a major, I think that's different because I think there's, like you said earlier in the show, there's some intention to how a guy is preparing. If he wins 2 weeks before a major, he's not looking to take his foot off the pedal leading into the major. If anything, he's now said, okay, now I need to like keep it on.
Right.
And I'm buying into the fact that for these next 3 weeks, I'm going full bore. And like that's 100% what I expect out of Cam Young. So at his price, 10,100, like I'm willing to pay that for Cam Young. I'm willing to pay Rory's price. I'm willing to play Xander's price. That's what's so hard about this week specifically is that there's an argument for all of those high price guys. Usually you can say like, okay, 1 or 2 of these guys aren't worth the price this week in this field. I can't say that this week.
Like, yeah, I think the top 4 for sure, right? Because Fitzpatrick, same deal. Right. Like I think the top 4 are definitely it's a pretty easy case for all of them. And I think Xander's going to be the one that gets slept on because he doesn't have the wins, but as we were talking about, his iron numbers are quietly getting to what we saw the year, 2024 when he won 2 majors.
Yeah.
And, I said that's the click that I was looking at for the PGA looking ahead was Xander because, Donald Ross courses are ones that you have to have every bit of the golf game. Xander definitely, when he's on, has that. And really, it's still his putter that is kind of holding him back. He's another guy that, he's a spike putting week away from potentially like dusting the field like Cam Young has been doing, in recent weeks. So I'm excited. I want to see Xander get back because it was really disappointing for me to see a guy that I always believed in win 2 majors, get to the mountain. He got injured, which that's not his fault. But I'm saying since then, it's been really disappointing. He just doesn't seem like the guy. It's almost like what we were talking about where he got to the top of the mountain. He's like, okay, now what?
Right.
And I don't believe that's the case of like, Will or his game or anything. I just think that he got hurt. It's taken him a while to get his game back. And I'm ready to see him start, mixing up with Scotty and those guys on a regular basis again.
Yeah, and since we're going to be playing these higher price and owned guys, we're going to need some value this week. So I want to quickly touch on some names that I have.
Sure.
I have 6 guys that are below 8K that I think you're going to have to use this week if you want to really pay up for those guys. So I'll go kind of in a descending order from price. So highest price first. At 7,800, I have Kurt Kitayama at 7,800. I think he's a crush this week. I also have Gary Woodland at 7,600. He has shown us that he still has that power in the driver. He can still put it out there, and he's been playing good enough from the approach to where
has a good record at this venue too.
Yeah, and you factor that in. Like Gary Woodland seems like a massive sleeper this week at 7,600.
Kitayama is my favorite play in cash.
He's fantastic play at 7,800. That's you're not going to go wrong in any format with him there.
Top 10 from 175 plus, top 15 in driving distance. Like he fits the bill for all the things that we've been talking about.
Right. And then you want to talk about a guy that's probably going to be low owned, yet is in green on BetSperts for every single stat that I mentioned, both for Quail Hollow and in general for the past 3 months. And at 7,500, that's Alex Smalley, who is in fantastic form right now. Like coming into this course with good history here, fantastic form. Like that's a guy that he's really trying. We just talked about a guy trying to build momentum going into a major. Alex Smalley is going to be looking for that. Corey Connors at 7,300 is another guy like that. You said his course history. That's
very good.
You can't argue that. Max Homa as well. He's playing good enough golf right now at 7,000. I love that play as well, especially leading into just getting into the PGA Championship. He's going to feel like that chip on his shoulder. He's going to have something to prove. And if you know anything about Max Homa, that's something for him. That goes a long way for him. It means
he's going to be amped up for sure.
Exactly. And then the last guy I have at 6,900 is once again going back to Daniel Berger. Daniel Berger, the stats just line up well here. He's not the longest off the tee in this field. Like that's where he's gonna have to be accurate for this to kind of come to fruition. But everything other than driving distance here, he really ranks out well. He's fantastic from that approach range. He's going to be one of those guys that probably plays a less than driver off the tee and then just crushes a long iron into the green. He's going to, if he can nail those, you're going to see a lot of birdies from that man this week.
Yeah, I actually think you can go even cheaper. I love Poke Guider this week, 6,700. He's quietly playing really well. He's finished 25th or better 3 of the last 4. This is a course that the 2 things that he does elite is driving the golf ball, obviously a long way, and his long irons.
He's number 1 in the field on distance.
Yeah, and he's top 10 in proximity from 175 plus. So I mean, if there was ever a week, especially with not having to worry about a cut, I think that this is a really good week. Nico's fired up about that play too.
I was going to say
Ryan Fox is another guy that he finished 28th here last year. He's finished 30th or better 6 of 8 events this season. Again, a guy that is top 15 in driving distance, and he's top 10 in proximity from 175 plus. I love Taylor Pendrith this week as well. He's a guy that finished top 10 both in the PGA Championship here and 2 years ago, the last time they held the Truist. He's another guy that's top 15 in driving distance. And then if you're looking for somebody a little bit different, Rio, our boy Rio, man, who's somebody that we've liked a lot this week.
He's had a great year.
He's had a great year. He's only played this event in the PGA Championship last year. He made the cut, finished 37th. But he's another one of those guys that very good ball striker. I mean, 16th tee to green, 37th off the tee, top 30 on approach. The big thing, though, again, 8 par 4s that play 450 plus. He ranks 7th in this field on par 4s of 450 plus. And I think that's going to play a factor. He's also, by the way, 3rd on approaches of 200 plus yards. So he is going to have no problem with the long irons. That's actually, you could argue, the strength of his iron game. So I think all those guys, I completely co-sign Smalley, who I think may be a little under-owned. And then the one other guy that's a little cheap that I like is Sam Stevens, who another guy that didn't have a lot of experience here, finished 47th in his only Truist start, but hits it a country mile. He's top 20 in green and regulation percentage, and is somebody who, 3-putt avoidance is something that we didn't really talk about, but it's a big deal. These are massive greens. He's somebody that's top 35, and that is so crucial on a golf course that's difficult to not hit a green and reg and then give a shot away. And you're going to see guys do that a lot this week.
That's a fantastic point. You're right. We didn't touch on it, so shame on me, but that's a great point. These are large greens, and being able to lag putt here is going to be a skill that you need. So I do love that. Real fast, because I know you got to go move on to the next show. You mentioned, our boy Shooter early in the show. He's same price as Ryu.
He's in basically every lineup I have.
Right. Okay. Because what he rates out pretty well here. The one thing he doesn't have here is history here, obviously. Yep. But you have full confidence in him, because I know that's your guy this year.
I mean, again, like the top 15 in driving distance and top 10 in that 175 plus. But the big thing, 11th in 3-putt avoidance. So
that's huge.
So, again, his scrambling is his one kind of weakness, and that this is a difficult golf course to scramble. Do not get me wrong, but he hits so many greens in regulation. I mean, he's 9th in proximity. I think he's top 20 in green and regulation percentage. But where he's going to get a big advantage this week is in his ability to not 3-putt, because, again, while guys are, from 175 plus, which, again, was like 60% of your approaches, you're going to have a lot of long lag putts. And
Yep.
if he continues to putt the way he has this year, that won't be a problem. The other big thing, there's only 5 holes on this golf course that play under par. The 3 of them are the par 5s. He's 13th in par 5 scoring, which is my one concern about Cam Young. It's the only thing he's not doing at an elite level this year is I think he's like 50th in par 5 scoring, but not a problem for Suter, who's 13th in par 5 scoring.
And look, I love that. Either way, there's a ton of value here this week, I think, that we gave you guys. I hope you all have good luck. As always, I am Andrew LeDuc. This is Keith.
In his new studio, looking good.
In my new studio, there'll be paint next week. I promise you that.
Let's go.
There'll be some paint, and the rest of the decorations will be up. This is Divots and Pivots, and we'll have one more surprise next week, by the way, Keith.
Oh,
we
nice.
will be joined by a special guest next week, and I'm going to tease it, and I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to let you guess. I'm going to let you all guess. But we will have a third participant
I love hearing that.
next week here for the PGA Championship as we get you ready for all the money that you can win. I'm Andrew LeDuc. This is Keith Fleming. We are Divots and Pivots. We love you guys. And as always, stay classy. Get out there and win.